Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena we are checking out the final Dreadhorde, the final elemental build that we're going to do. We've done two other elemental builds this week with elemental aggro, and then we did mid-range, and now I'm going to do Command the Dreadhorde elemental. Now, the elemental theme is a little bit softer in this deck than usual, with Risen Reef teaming up with Cavalier of Thorns. We do have a Yarok the Desecrated, which is one of my favorite cards that I get to run in this particular deck. Only a one of. The legendariness and the fact that it doesn't produce value entering the battlefield itself means you don't want too many, but just having one that you can dig up is pretty great. We also have Wildgrowth Walker being an elemental, and to support that life gain, which we need because Command the Dreadhorde makes us pay a whole bunch of life to get things back, we have the Merfolk Branchwalker and Jadelight Ranger package. I also don't think you should play a green deck right now without Llanowar Elves. The card's too important. Everybody else is using it. You better use it too. If it doesn't die on turn one, the mana acceleration's just too great, and playing Elf into Reef into Cavalier of Thorns is a start that most aggressive decks will not be able to handle. Speaking of those matchups, you against aggressive decks do need a really good curve, because if you're playing no turn 1 Llanowar Elf, your turn 2 is a Branchwalker, and your turn 3 is a Risen Reef, and they're playing things like Runaway Steamkin and Goblin Chain Whirler and clearing the way for their creatures, they will run you over. So you're going to need those hot starts, and Cavalier of Thorns is probably the best way to stabilize the battlefield, dig into that graveyard and fill it up for command, and when it dies you can put a Command the Dreadhorde or a Tamiyo on top of your deck. This is the end game combo. Casting Command the Dreadhorde, getting back a whole bunch of elementals and explore creatures, gaining a whole bunch of life, drawing a whole bunch of cards, using Tamiyo to get back Command the Dreadhorde, and do it all over again. A few more tools along the way, just some one-ofs, a Thrashing Brontodon, a Ravenous Chupacabra, a Hostage Taker to deal with random permanents along the way in a way that is very conducive with Command the Dreadhorde. You just get them back. It's also really fun with Yarok the Desecrated to double Hostage Take, double Chupacabra. Things of that nature are very, very fun. Alright, I think I've explained enough about the deck, and if you watched the Command the Dreadhorde decks from last season, you know quite a bit about how it works. So let's go get some games. Hey guys, let's take a quick break to talk about Flipside Gaming's Core 2020 Booster Box giveaway. From now until July 15th, you can win an entire box of M20 for free if you follow these steps. Number 1. Find $10 or more worth of stuff at flipsidegaming.com that you like. Easy. They have singles, they have sealed product, and they have all the gaming supplies you need. So, number 2, use the promo code CGB before checkout. This saves you 10% and it supports the channel at the same time. Number 3, complete your order. That's it. Even a mono red player can figure it out. Please check out the links in the description to read the giveaway's rules and conditions, and thank you for supporting the channel. May the best mage win. Turn 2 Jadelight Ranger, possibly turn 3 or 4, no, possibly turn 4-ish Cavaliers if we hit lands. Also, we don't have any black or blue, but I'm going to try it because turn 1 Llanowar Elves, too strong. Thrashing Brontodon. Let's roll. I'm ready for my Thought Erasure. This is a pretty good Thought Erasure hand. I mean, I don't want to lose the Jadelight Ranger, but I guess I have to. It's probably the card that gets taken. I'll need to top deck lands and other Explorer creatures, or it's just going to be a mess. Yep, good choice, opponent. You win the prize. For the card I most didn't want to just get torn out of my hand. There we go. Alright, a blue mana source off the top is okay. We of course will need some black ones along the path. But here comes the Bronto. And this is where the opponent Kaya's Wraths away my mana creature and leaves me a sad, sad panda bear. But there you go. We drew a Jadelight Ranger. I'm not too worried about if I hit Shocklands with this. I'd rather get in the damage. So let's attack. Also, let's make our opponent have their Kaya's Wrath perfect curve out on time. Can definitely graveyard you and you. Don't need more things that die in a Kaya's Wrath fire. Yeah, they've got the mana, they've got the wrath. What do you know? You only need 2 cards to completely invalidate all the creature decks of the world. You just take their good thing and you blow them up and you leave them being like, I hope I top deck this turn. If I don't, I just lose to Teferi. Alright, well at least it's not a Teferi yet. But a Narset here would be just as kind of tilting as it would go very deep to get one. Surely it's a Planeswalker though. How exciting! Our opponent had to tank on that for God knows how long. And they brought a Basilica Bellhaunt. Thought erase another Cavalier Thorns, great. We're having good times. Good choice to attack. I like that. Try the Canarium, of course. Get rid of my elf. Can't let me have land. Let's see if we can find a black mana now that we've been able to resolve this buddy. No, geez, this draw has been garbage. All right. Well, we do have a Tameo in the graveyard that we get back if anything happens to the Cav. Are you gonna bounce that? I mean, I guess you can. I don't know. What would you do? Give me another land? I guess so. You're definitely drawing a card. I don't think there's any question there. It's whether or not to let me keep filling my graveyard and go find my black mana, which it looks like I get to do. So, yeah, you're good. Finally found 1 black. In fact, we put 2 more of them into the graveyard. We found so many at the same time.
I am not making this up as I go.
All right. Ooh. Well, let's see how the opponent wants to play it. I'm coming for your Ravla. All right.
Really should have seen that coming.
Opponent saved the Bellhaunt. We could play the Yarok. I think I like playing the Reef, because the thing about playing the Yarok is that it's just a body that gets no value. If the opponent kills it in some way, although I'm guessing they have Cast Down, that might be what they have in their hand, but they might have another Kaya's Wrath, which would explain why they tanked about playing the Bellhaunt for so long. So, I think we're just gonna Reef it. Say whatever you want about that. Ooh. Nice rip. Dovin's Veto. This is our first non-creature spell, and there's a stick. Although, I guess the Cast Down, if they held that, would have hit one of these. So what is this? Feels like it has to be a veto. So surely they're going to counter this. Let's see. Wow.
You would make an excellent informant for my study.
All right, what to get back? So I'm really tempted to get something back just to make sure I have some value here. So I'm going to minus you. No, I'm not, because then the Bellhaunt could attack it down if the opponent removes the Reef. So let's go up instead. What do I most want? I want my last command, the Dreadhorde, the most, but there's only one, and I don't even have the mana to play it. How about another Cav of Thorns? That would be pretty awesome. All right. Fill that graveyard. Here's the attacks. No blocks, so you can take it.
Do not harm my scrolls.
So grouchy. Alright, Oath of Kaya, shoot you down.
I will not.
But I still have my Reef.
Violence.
Reef Yarok is a pretty fun combo. Never mind. Our opponent is anti-fun in all of its forms. Unfortunate top deck. But we're in the game. We shouldn't complain too much the way that this game started. The opponent has to find a solution to the Cav. And when they do, we get back a command, the Dreadhorde. So that's pretty good. Yay, land. Might as well play him out. The opponent knows what it is. Down to 8. Passing turn now. Ooh, let's go for it. That's the right rip at the right time, probably, if the opponent's trying to slow roll a Wrath, and that's game. The 3 Thought Erasures and the Kaya's Wrath, and we got through it. I'm playing against a Mythic in Diamond 3. Let's do it, I guess. Let's come for number 271. You're going down, dude. Oh, Manny Boy's a friendly boy. Hello. Here comes a Llanowar elf. Are you happy to see him? That's how you get to Mythic that quick. All right. Let's make them deal with the Wild Growth Walker. If they don't have the Lightning Strike ready to go here, Wild Growth Walker could survive. All right. It's Gruul. Jade lighted up. Library. Good game. Sure. Sometimes you get rolled. I don't know quite what I'm supposed to say about that. Nice, I guess I could say. What? What are you doing here? Whenever it attacks, you may discard a card. If you do draw a card, Riot. You Mythic? Like, I have not seen this card in Mythic before. Okay. That's crazy. That's crazy. Alright. Let's keep it coming. Graveyard you, and land, please. Thank you. I do need to keep hitting. So let's slam. The opponent will want to trade with the Jadelight Ranger, or jump the Wild Growth Walker. I think now they're just making a show of... how sad they are. I think that's what's going on here. I think they really don't like my draw. So they were even showing me, yeah, I could block here, but I'm blocking over here, and now I'm, yeah. Or maybe they just want to be on the YouTubes. Perhaps I'll honor their wish. I want Elf Reef Cav. Okay, double elf can do 2. We do need a blue source for these Tamios. I put my faith in the deck and the power of Jadelight Ranger to find me the blue source. Temple of Silence. Alrighty. Will it be... Hey, I didn't need the Jadelight Ranger to do it. So, do we play the Jadelight Ranger here? I think we do. I think we just get it down. I know I'll have Tamio next turn. Jadelight here can just apply some pressure. I do want you, don't I? Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. And it's vampires. Okay, I was wondering if it might be some vampires. Tamio, what do you want?
Every story is an opportunity.
I think Cavalier Thorns is like one of the best bridges into a great Command the Dreadhorde, and I do run all 4, so it's a good one to look for. Let's hold back the Jadelight Ranger. Make the opponent go through the Jadelight Ranger. When the vampire deck leads on Legion Lieutenant, it's usually a pretty good thing for you. But now the critters are starting to come out to play. And I don't have a sweeper like a Massacre Girl, so we just need to make like a wall of bodies. I really want another Risen Reef. That's what I really want. Should I do this first? I suppose. I still think Cavalier Thorns is a great hit though. Wild Growth Walker, awesome. Let's go for it. Thornsies. Oh, I should have named the Reef. I would have hit. Okay. Pay 2 life. Also deploy Wild Growth Walker, which will trigger Risen Reef to see another card and another Reef. Oh, we're gonna have a game. This is gonna be a mess. Sanctum Seeker, cast down on your Wild Growth Walker. Okay. Danto Vanguard. Yes. No other attacks. All right, let's get up in the Reef. Double Reef triggers. Take that action. Find a Jade Light Ranger. Good. All right. I think I'll just... Let's see. I can minus you to get another Wild Growth Walker and then replay it. And that will get me 2 more triggers. So I think that's a pretty good play. The opponent will have to deal with the Wild Growth Walker, or I have the Jade Light Ranger next turn to gain a bunch of life.
The story past holds our future.
And they also want to get Tamio off the board. So it's all things they need to deal with. 2 Jade Light Rangers. But remember, these aren't revealed to the opponent. See how they don't have the little eyeball next to them, like cards that are revealed to the opponent? So just because it does this thing is like to show you that you're not drawing the card, you're placing it into your hand. Which is nice because it gets around Narset too. Alright, so, who where? You don't really want to block. You could trade for something. But I think we're just letting Tamio die anyway, so does it matter what you trade for? I think we just say go away. We've got another one, it's fine. No reason to throw away any of our material that could protect our life total or another Tamio. Now we explore really hard. And that's it. The opponent doesn't want any more of that. I was a little nervous that they might have a removal spell for the Wild Growth Walker, but you just gotta go for it sometimes. Vampires meet the wall of merfolk and elemental beef. Just gums up the ground really well. That's why I found in my aggro vampires the Sky Marcher Aspirant and even some Duskborn Sky Marchers and Twilight Prophets made a difference because you need that flying damage. We'll cover vampires soon. Don't worry, it's coming. Walkers and branch walkers. Walker on walker violence. That's what we're here for, right? That's what the Magic standard world keeps revolving around. Don't worry. 3 more months. 3 more months till standard rotation, and Wild Growth Walker will no longer be legal in standard. If you want to know what standard rotation is, go to www.whatisstandard.com. It's a website devoted to telling you what is in standard, when it leaves standard, how long it will be in standard, what sets are legal in standard. And then, kind of to piggyback on that, if you want to know how Arena will handle standard, read the latest state of the beta, where they talk about their new eternal format called Historic. That's a good draw. Double Walker, Llanowar Elf, and we'll see if our opponent has Reckless Rage ready to go to remove these. Looks like we're up against the Feather deck, which is very terrifying. It can do a lot of scary things. And it can outvalue you, so we can't get carried away here. It's definitely possible that we get absolutely creamed in this game. We need another black source. So I want this, but I want it I'm fine with putting it in the graveyard for command, because we have to find a black source with our Cavalier of Thorns. And your go. Cavalier of Thorns can be a strong blocker against Feather. Opponent's reading the Llanowar Elf. I hope they don't kill it. I hope at this point they let me has my elf, because this Cavalier is a pretty big player. The reach, remember, it does have reach. Many people have been forgetting this. God's Willing, that can get a lot of damage through as well. So this is going to be protection from green, most certainly, so that the 10th District Legionnaire cannot be blocked. The Scry to the top, scary. The God's Willing exiles because of Feather. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So this God Willing is sitting over here. It's going to go back to our opponent's hand at the end of their turn. And now they're deciding what else to do. So usually a Feather deck includes a lot of cards like this that do cool things like scry or draw cards when you cast them, or removal spells that do some damage to your creature but more damage to theirs. And that's how they get a lot of value. They get to cast those spells every single turn over and over. I wonder what our opponent's thinking about here. And then they pass the turn. So they decided not to attack. They're also holding up mana, so perhaps they're thinking about a Reckless Rage. We drew the black source for our Command the Dreadhorde. We are in good shape. Let's drop this big reachy blocker too. Hopefully we can fill this graveyard up with some fun things. We may even want to attack with our Branch Walkers to get them into the graveyard for the command. It telegraphs the command for sure. Show me some good critters. Let's put some good critters in our graveyard. Okay, there's another Cavalier of Thorns and a Tameo. That's pretty good. And you can enter tapped. And you can enter tapped. And I feel like attacking into the open mana, things will definitely die. But getting stuff in the graveyard to get more triggers is really great too. It's kind of a tough call. I don't think the opponent will be able to stop me from commanding the Dreadhorde next turn. A big attack definitely gives away that it's coming though. And I'd rather not give that away. I'd like the opponent to leave my life total high. But yeah, next turn before casting the command, I'll probably send an attack in. But I don't want to give them a whole turn of prep for it. They might hit me as hard as they can, reducing my abilities. So this is kind of weird. I mean, it grows the Legionnaire. I guess that's the reason they're doing it, because they keep scrying to the top. So they know they want the card. But they're also doing this on my attack step, not my end step, which is also pretty smart. Because if they do it on their end step, the cards exiled with Feather don't return till the following end step. So you don't want to do things at end of turn like normal with the Feather deck. You want to do them like in the attack step or in the second main phase. We'll have to do a Feather video sometime, getting deeper into some of the things about Feather. Feather was one of the decks I played a lot towards the end of the last season. I do find it a pretty competitive deck. There is strength in Feather. I have seen it. Okay, the opponent probably deciding what to Reckless Rage. I think the answer was definitely the Llanowar Elf last turn, but no, they're not even doing that. They're sitting on something for 1 red. If it was a Reckless Rage, you'd have to be casting that, right? Absolutely. Opponent looking in the graveyard. I think they know what I'm up to. They can keep making these creatures very, very unblockable, which is frustrating to say the least. Of course, I can beat the crap out of them in return if they don't have blockers. There's the Reckless Rage. That will deal 4 damage. If the opponent has another Reckless Rage, they can get rid of the Wild Growth Walker. Or a Shock will do. Sure. Now I'm sure we'll see some Gods Willing. Scrying to the top now, so they like their top card. Protection from green will let them fire away. But do they attack when I can attack for so much damage in response? Alright. What else you got? Down to 25. Second command the Dreadhorde. Let's send in the knuckleheads, as they say. Dial up some pressure. Here's the Gods Willing, which is fine. Now, will the opponent block the Cavalier of Thorns? Or will they block a Merfolk Branchwalker and give me those triggers? That's the big question now. Okay, Branchy it is. Excellent. So, command the Dreadhorde. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 plus 4. 9 plus 5 is a lot. 14. 15, 16, 17, 18. Let's go big. The opponent might be able to kill us with this Gods Willing stuff, but with double triggers and an Explorer and 2 Wild Growth Walkers, I'm not mathing it. I obviously want to do a big command the Dreadhorde. Oh, come on, play it out, play it out. Play it out, play it out. You might win. Like, you really might win. The Yarok is double triggers, which is pretty epic. But there's only one Explorer trigger, so then there's two of these. It's not over. And maybe the opponent knows that? Like, I'm down with them if they want to win. I wanted to show an epic Yarok command the Dreadhorde thing. That was my mission in life here today. Alright, they're keeping.
Ruling you will be excellent.
Let's do it. Let's put a land onto the battlefield. If I hit another Branchwalker, that would have been tight. I guess I'm still trying to, right? So we can graveyard you. Here's the triggers. Here's the Cav. Onto the bat. Ooh, there's a Jade Light Ranger. Okay, we can do this, right? With the Tameo? Oh yeah. Never mind. We definitely got there now. Behold, trigger heaven. Where'd you go? I saw you. Come to me. So double triggers because of Yarok the Desecrated. 2 Wild Growth Walkers. Lands that were untapped from the Cavalier of Thorns. It all comes together in this amazing pile of life. Behold, more land! Just when you thought it was over, it keeps going. And there's the scoop. Yes, that's the massive Yarok command the Dreadhorde thing I wanted to do on camera for you all. And we got our second tier diamond out of the deal, so boom! I hope that you enjoyed Elemental Dreadhorde. I ran a version for a while with Omnath in it for red, and those triggers were very fun, especially fun to duplicate with Yarok. But honestly, I felt that Omnath was a bit too weak in a deck that didn't quite need it. Sticking with Sultai and focusing on the Cavalier of Thorns and on the Yarok and the Explorer package just worked out a lot better for me. I find this deck really strong. It is a little like Solitaire, as you're just playing out lots of creatures and proactive threats. Your opponent has to deal with them, and then when they tap their mana to deal with it, you cast Command the Dreadhorde and blow up everything that they've tried to accomplish. It is pretty fun, similar to last season, but without the Nissa Hydroid Crassus angle, which I don't think this deck needs. You saw the absurd powers of Risen Reef, the absurd powers of Yarok, plus the Explorer package. So I think that's where this deck is and what it's all about. How does it compete with Mono Red and Esper? The Esper matchup, I think, is exactly what you want. I think Mono Red is much harder. A decent Mono Red draw is really hard to beat, even with Wild Growth Walker in your deck. But against Esper, you just put a lot of pressure on them, and if they ever skip a beat, you end up commanding the Dreadhorde and doing nasty things. So it's good stuff. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.